BlackRock has filed with the SEC to create a spot ETF trading at the price of Bitcoin. Why does that mean anything? I'm going to simplify what an ETF is and why it's meaningful this time when so many other companies have tried to make a spot ETF on the price of Bitcoin and been rejected by the SEC. First, what is an ETF? An ETF, or an exchange-traded fund, is what Wall Street refers to as a financial vehicle. Very basically, it's an asset you can buy and sell on the stock market, just like when you buy and sell Tesla stock, or when you invest your life savings into Microvision because they're almost certainly going to make a deal this summer. ETFs allow you to buy and sell physical things on the stock market, like gold, silver, and oil, without having to take possession of precious metals or tanker trucks. So in the case of a Bitcoin ETF, on the stock market, it'll be pegged to the price of Bitcoin. BlackRock is at this moment attempting to have their Bitcoin ETF approved by the SEC, and if they're successful, it means that BlackRock would buy up a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and they would be responsible for storing it, and because the SEC is involved and huge insured financial companies are involved, your investment would be very safe, or however safe it is to apply money towards the idea that Bitcoin is going to keep going up in price. This also means that if you buy into the BTC ETF, you won't actually own Bitcoin. The same way that if you buy an ETF in gold, you can't go exchange that for actual gold bars. You simply own an interest in BlackRock's holding of the gold, or Bitcoin in this case. But that's actually a benefit in the eyes of mainstream investors. Starting up a crypto wallet, keeping track of keys, and then watching some of these exchanges go up in smoke, hearing about hackers stealing people's crypto. These are all things that scare the big money folks and traditional investors. Hang on, I'm gonna push the smoke button. So letting some monolithic investment firm with the backing of the SEC hold the actual Bitcoin, and then just buying and selling the representation of that on the stock market, means that your investment is backed and insured the same way that I trust that I own 0.01% of Microvision in accordance with the purchases that I've made on Webull. Link in the description for 2 free stocks on Webull. Okay, so that's what an ETF is. Now, you might ask, why hasn't this happened years ago? And since so many other companies have been denied a BTC ETF from the SEC, why should we think this time would be any different? Quick history. The first attempt at a Bitcoin ETF was from the Winklevoss twins, those guys from the Facebook movie. They applied all the way back in 2013. The SEC rejected it. 5 years later, they tried again in 2018. Rejected. In 2019, Bitwise had an SEC filing rejected. Then in 2020, Wilshire Phoenix got rejected. Cathie Wood's ARK Invest has been rejected twice, and they have a third filing active right now, hopefully riding on the backs of BlackRock's new scheme. But here's where the recent news is coming from and why this might be different with BlackRock. By all metrics, BlackRock is an investment juggernaut. Their net worth is tied largely to the stock market, so it changes daily, but at any given time, they're controlling between 10 and 15 trillion dollars, which means that if this company was a country, they would have between the second and third highest GDP in the world, depending on the week. This company controls as much money as China. Equally important to their inconceivable wealth is that they have a success rate of ETF filings with the SEC of 575 to 1. That is a success rate of 99.8%. There was one single time that they were rejected by this government agency that controls investments, which means that BlackRock has very well proven that they don't go after these filings unless they're extremely confident it's going to go through. The reason these other Bitcoin ETFs have failed to gain approval is because the SEC has determined that it would be too easy for them to manipulate the market. What BlackRock has done is to enter into what they're calling a surveillance sharing agreement, which involves sharing the information about the market trading activity and identifies customers so that there's less of a chance of market manipulation. I don't understand that either, but apparently it makes it less likely that they can control the price action, even though I'm quite sure that they can and do control the price action of pretty much the entire stock market. If BlackRock is filing, they are almost certainly going to gain approval of this ETF. Once that happens, Bitcoin will be making its way into public pension plans and the retirement funds of millions of people, maybe that's the same thing, and it will be available on the stock market for a whole new crop of people to speculate on. It will also pave the way for other companies, specifically ARK Invest and Fidelity, to get their own Bitcoin ETFs passed. And the result of that will be way more people going after the same pool of Bitcoin. Unlike stocks, where companies can just issue more shares at any time, Microvision, Bitcoin will always have the same number of units available. And when a ton more people start going after the same number of a thing, that thing becomes more valuable. In the mining community, we practically needed this reality to come to pass. In 2024, the Bitcoin halving event will chop the efficiency of these guys in half, and we're already just dancing on the line of profitability. But if the price more than doubles, then this thing will be good to go for another 5 years. Just the news alone of BlackRock making this SEC filing was probably what's responsible for Bitcoin's recent jump up to 31,000. And if it passes, we will see pretty dramatic upward movement on the dollar price of the orange coin. I've said it before, but with the rise of the price of the coin comes the rise in the price of the miners to dig it up. If you trust in BlackRock's 99.8% success rate, you can bet on the current price of mining hardware being a very good deal. With that in mind, if you're interested in buying some Bitcoin miners, please either stop by my Discord channel and look in the Musk Miners ASIC sales section, or just send Blake an email. Links to both of those things are in the description below. You can also get your hands on some regular household scissors down there to help fund the channel. Please let Blake know that I sent you so he can kick me back a little taste under the table so we can keep the lights and the smoke machine on here at the warehouse. Goodbye.